Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, September 9th. My son doesn't know when not to call. I should have my ringer off. But I digress, and you know it. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5, and a legendary one at that. This site has been around for quite some time, and this may be the most momentous event we've had in terms of news. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5. We cover the national champions. As you can see on your screen, for those of you here live, the Dean, Bill Kurelic, is here. Mark Porter, the Grand Poobah, is here. And it's a big day here at Bucknuts. I don't really know how even to set something up like this because we don't do things like this very often. Our calling card here at Bucknuts has been consistency and those faces you recognize. But I'm going to turn the floor over to the one and only Bill Kurelic as he has some news that all nutters need to know. William, the floor is yours.
Well, it's, I guess, kind of out there. I put a story on our site this morning, probably about 15 or 20 minutes ago, that it's time. About 40 years ago, I moved from Coach Kurelic, having been the head basketball coach and girls softball coach at Dublin High School, to recruiting guy Kurelic. And now it is almost 40 years later, time to move back. I will be retiring in October and moving back, I guess you'd say, to from recruiting guy Kurelic to Coach Kurelic. I'm already just started coaching my grandson's fall ball T-ball team with actually our first game on Thursday. But it is really just time to move into retirement. My wife and I, we've talked about this for a couple of years, and in early June, I had decided that I would be retiring, and just kind of thought about it for a while, though. Want to make sure I was making the right decision, and as time went on, I just felt more and more sure about my decision, and thus have finally announced it today that in October, I will be retiring.
I wrote a speech for this, Bill, and I told you I was going to have the "I Will Remember You" music going in the background, but you asked me not to do that. I mean, I think I speak for everybody at Bucknuts first in that this business wasn't really a business. It was a collection of people, dudes doing whatever they did. Bill, and we can all hope to be like this when we retire, is going right on the Mount Rushmore of this profession. And I don't know who the other three guys are. I can't put into words to you what Bill has meant to me personally. I've had the good fortune of being in editorial management for almost 30 years, and I use Bill as the standard. There is no one who cares more about what he does every day than Bill Kurelic. If we all followed the John Wooden rules like Bill did, this would be a better society. I honestly believe that. I've raised 3 children, and I always got a few tips from Bill on how to handle things with class, how to present yourself as an adult, and just the consistency. I can tell you this as someone who's been in charge, no one worries about no one gets the chance to have a guy like Bill around for as long as I did, where every night you went to sleep and every morning you woke up, you knew you had nothing to worry about. When you're in charge, there is nothing sexier than competence. And Bill is just the most competent dude I've been around in my career. There would be no Bucknuts. I would venture a guess there wouldn't be the other competing sites. And I don't even say competing because, I don't know if everyone knows this. There's no market in the college space that has as many people on the beat doing stuff as Bill, as Ohio State. And that's because of people like Bill who have built this into a profession. This used to be a hobby. I can tell you this. Bill has carried us for a long time, and everyone on this site who's been here for a while, including Mark, has children. This did not used to be a job. This was a hobby. Bill has made this a job. We've been able to wake up and worry about the Buckeyes every day instead of digging ditches because of Bill. So there is nothing I could say to Bill that would match what he's given to the site, in terms of just making us, a consistent choice for everybody. Now, we will go on. Believe it or not, Ohio State football will play more games even when Bill's not on the beat. They will still recruit and try and add talent without teenagers having to answer calls from Bill at all hours of the night. I'll turn it over to you, Mark, because you've known Bill. I mean, Mark, to tell you the truth, I was thinking about this. We've all been around each other for almost 2 decades, believe it or not, in some form. And like I said, when we started this out, I can tell you, you think Bucknuts was a hobby, you should have seen Scouting Ohio when it started out. But Bill's the reason we've been able to do this. Now, I think we're going to take it and run with it. And we do have a plan. We've added Garrett Hodge from 11 Warriors. And then when Bill, and he'll kind of help Garrett, Bill will kind of help Garrett get rolling here. And then when Bill steps away, we'll add another body because, as everyone knows, Bill's been doing the work of at least 2 men for a long time. And I would never ask one man to try and replace Atlas. I'm being serious. I don't know if you expected me to go on for that long on my tribute, Bill. I'll be releasing this separately. But I cannot thank you enough for what you've done for my career. I look at Bill and this guy as the 2 guys who probably helped Bucknuts the most. That's Urban, because he took us to a new level at one point. But Mark, your thoughts on the Dean being lost, not to another site. We are losing the Dean to the Westerville Little League. We could not match their offer. It became a salary cap issue, and who knew the Westerville Little League was willing to franchise Bill and take it from there. Mark, the floor is yours.
He's gonna live the dream. I mean, this is what you kind of envision as a kid. I want to work in sports. I want to have a job that I wake up every day and I do something I love, but I grind at it also. I mean, we can't overlook the grind. This wasn't all happiness, but then you get to retire to coach your grandchildren. This is what I want to do. I know this is what you'd like to do, like someday walk off in that sunset. And I know we don't want to wish our days away to the point where we get where Bill is, but boy, do I dream about the days where Bill's at right now and being able to put this behind him, because I know that's a tough decision. I mean, he has bled this industry. The unique thing about Bill, I mean, I was 2005 when I got here. That's when Lee took it over to scout.com and left, and I joined. So, I was a youngin' back then. And this was a wild, wild west industry where there were people in this business that were unscrupulous, that would sell people out, that would tell secrets, that would repeat things, that would lie, cheat, and steal to beat you on a commitment post. Back in the day, when kids would say, hey, I'm going to commit and I'm going to tell you guys and don't tell anybody till Tuesday. And 6 people would tell people before Tuesday. Bill had the utmost respect for these players and honesty. I mean, Bill shouldn't be called the Dean. He should be called the Vault. Dan, we know he has known things 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, 3 minutes ahead of time, and doesn't say a word. If I needed to bury a body, I'm calling Bill Kurelic, because I know he can keep a secret, and not just any secret, an important secret. That money's on the line, that, people are beating him and putting out things first. The players respect Bill. When Bill goes to a camp, he has handshakes and conversations with these guys that are friendly because he's never burnt them. He's never done anything behind their back to sell them out and gain an inch on another website. And in this industry, that was not the norm. And that's what stuck out to me the most about being at Bucknuts and with Bill is there is some integrity in this industry. There is a site that doesn't go for the quick, oh, we know this kid better. We know what's going to happen, before everybody else. Bill was true to the game the whole time. And I think that's how you stay in it this long, is with that type of reputation. The respect the Ohio State staff has for Bill. They usually don't intermingle with the media very much, and Bill's a guy that can just walk up and talk to those guys off the record. And so he's earned that respect publicly and privately. 10 minutes has probably embarrassed this guy for us to be talking about him this long. But, boy, I mean, this industry, and not just in Ohio, across the entire country, of websites that, feature USC and Oregon and Alabama, Ohio State's had it the best. I mean, we've really had a solid drumbeat, heartbeat since the day he's got here. And, I have mimicked a lot of what I've done after guys like Bill, some of these guys that have been around, but the class and the respect is what I think he'll be most known for, above any other guy who ever does it, and maybe ever gets to the Mount Rushmore with him. Because like you said, when you said Mount Rushmore, I'm like, who else is on that sucker? There's some guys that, maybe flash for a minute in this business because they take the easy road and they, maybe beat you on a few things the wrong way, but those guys don't last. So hats off, Bill.
And I would say, Bill, I would say this. We have prided ourselves at this site at taking the high road in a lot of situations. I once said we report about 10% of what we know. I was probably conservative, but you're right in that there is a lot of stuff that goes on that you build trust in on the beat. And for those of you who follow the Ohio State beat, just the beat among the reporters has been nuts over the years. We've been able to stay above the fray because we're built on the Bill Kurelic template of, I don't want to call his name back in again, but I'll just say this. The first day I had everyone together, the first thing we did, Bill, was learn how to tie our shoes. Right?
Right.
That's the John Wooden way. First day of practice.
Put on your socks and tie your shoes.
Because you don't want to get them to bunch up, because that's how you get a blister, right, Bill? So if you're doing that at UCLA,
time.
So that was always easy to do. Look, if you, in your career, about halfway through it, they start calling you the dean, you've done something right. They don't call you the dean. They don't know you for your paddle. And Bill's going to tell stories about his first career where corporal punishment was the flavor of the day. I just can't thank you enough, Bill. I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable, and we'll talk about football here in a bit. But any thoughts now as you were heading into it of things you were going to miss, guys who stick out to you? I mean, you're going to get all the retirement questions now. Best Buckeye you've ever seen, best coach you've ever seen, all that stuff. So have you written the book to give away all the secrets?
Well, I don't think I'm a book writing guy. And everything, all this means, I guess, I'm old. Been around for a while, so I'm old. But I really need to say on here, if you haven't read the story I put on our site at about 8:45 this morning, a few people I need to really thank. My wife, this shirt right here, she had that made for me 40 years ago when I started my first business. It was the Ohio Football Recruiting News, and she had that shirt made for me back in the day when it wasn't quite as easy to just have shirts made, believe me. My wife and my 3 kids, Kristen, Matt, and Jen, just tremendous. They all have their own families now. They're grown up, have their own families. They have kids. So I have 7 grandchildren. Couldn't have done this without my family. This job has allowed me to spend, to be honest, a lot of time with my family, and that has been so important. And then, of course, Mr. Bucknuts, who, when he hired me 18 years ago, he said, I want to make this your last job. And well, Mr. Bucknuts, we did it. And all my colleagues at Bucknuts. As I said in the article, there's no better place no better site, no better people to work with than the people at Bucknuts. And I could probably go on and name, but I want to make sure I don't forget anybody. So I just want to say all the people at Bucknuts, it has been the site for a long, long time. And when I do finally have my very last day, it'll continue to be the site. The guys that are on it are going to continue to be great, and this will continue to be a great site. And I just need to thank all those people, and then everybody, all the young men over almost 40 years, high school recruits, coaches, parents that I've had time, pleasure, and honor to be associated with, meet. I can't thank them enough. When I go to a game, sometimes I'll see someone that I covered, say 20 years ago or whatever. And now it's to the point, again, getting old, it's to the point where I'll go and see the parents of kids that I covered many years ago. And that's kind of cool to talk about those people, talk with those people, some 10, 20, 30, almost 40 years later. It's really kind of neat. And I just really want to thank everyone out there and all of you people that have read one or any or many of my articles over the 40 years. I'm so very grateful, and God bless you all.
It's ironic. I had a meeting with some people last night about basketball in this town, and one of the things we discussed, and I truly believe this, is teams take on the personality of their best player. So having Bill as our highest salary cap player, let's just be honest about it, for a long time has made us what we are today. So we're built on, I'd like to think, a trustworthy, honest people who love football, love the Buckeyes. As Buck Rational will tell you, it's not called Buck Rational Observers. Bill has dealt with the Bucknuts better than anyone. You guys can get pretty riled up, and Bill has been kind of the calming influence and the, I don't want to say the mature guy in the room always, to put some vibe on it, but it's a fact. He's been the backbone of this operation, and Mr. Bucknuts did say that. And I will tell you a quick story that when I took over, I had a discussion with Mr. Bucknuts, and the first thing I asked is, how long do you have Bill signed for? Because I'm not doing this unless I know Bill is here for the long haul. And I was told, don't worry about it. You'll be in good shape. And look at us now. At that point in time, I think my eldest son was 3 or 4 years old. That's actually a stretch. I think he was 5. But still, he's 23 now. So, I mean, we're talking about a lifetime. Like Bill said, to know Bill and get to see him raise his family from afar and go from 0 grandchildren to 7, I think at last check. Who knows what happened by the weekend? We could be up to 8 or 9 with the way the Kurelics are handling. But like I said, there's nothing anyone could say here to thank Bill enough. I hope everybody in their career, anyone who's ever been in charge, gets to have someone like Bill working for them, because it's kind of like free money. You don't really do that much. You kind of just sit back and take the tangential credit that Bill grabs you. Anyone who has comments on Bill, or so Bill will be around, obviously on the boards talking all day. And this is not going away. Bill's not going away tomorrow. We wouldn't want to go cold turkey on that. I know I wouldn't. Cold turkey on Bill, and I'd probably need 3 weeks in Trembling Hills for you Fletch fans, or a trip out to see my friend Jeff Pinkerton in Oregon, who called me last night. My one friend who's in Oregon and an Oregon Ohio State fan. But I think Mika, you put it right here. One of my personal heroes, honestly, along with the Poobah, of course. You guys have been the best. And look, you're going to get these too. Thank you, Bill. You've always been a kind man to my son Amari. Bill treats your kids the way he would treat his own. He's been an example. So, not sure what else there is to say, Bill. I hope that you feel like your time here was well spent.
I do want to say one more thing. I mentioned my family, and This has been pretty cool. My wonderful wife, Cheryl, and I celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary back in late July. And in the matter of just a few months, we've got to celebrate our wedding anniversary and now retirement. So it's kind of been an eventful couple of months. And I need to, again, personally and singularly thank my wife for, I couldn't have had whatever career I may have had, and I couldn't have done it without her love and support. So I need to say that too.
I can tell you, as someone who's negotiated with Bill several times, he's got the hammer behind him to keep him tight. So that's for sure. Bill, what will you miss the most? And what do you think you are most happy to get away from?
Well, the miss the most one is really easy. It'll be the people. And I had this in my story. I ran into a longtime Ohio State Athletic Department member just recently, and excuse me. And he said he's really enjoying retirement, not missing the work at all, but he does miss the people at Ohio State. And I will definitely miss the people in this business. That is absolutely number one. As far as looking forward to, well, several things. Being even more with my family. And my family now includes 7 grandkids, so that'll be even better to be with them even more. My wife and I will get to travel more. I didn't take very many vacations while at Bucknuts, and we'll do that a little bit more. And I guess I was an industrial arts teacher and a drafting teacher.
What does that even mean, Bill?
And I like to make things. I built a good portion of, we've had 4 houses built now. And I built good portions of those, and built a lot of furniture and things like that. And I'll have even more time to do yard work and fix things and improve things and build things and all that. And I'm kind of looking forward to that, to be honest. So I guess those are some of the things.
Bill, I know that your father built a full bar in the basement of your house. Will you be doing that and then inviting us all over to kill time?
No, the last 2 houses we lived in, the one before this, I completely finished the entire basement myself, everything, drywall, electric, plumbing, everything myself. This one I did most of the things, but my first house we ever moved into, the basement I finished that one. The basement did not include a batting cage. That was bad parenting. I learned, and the next 2 houses do include batting cages, and for my kids, when they were kids, to take batting practice. So now it'll be my grandkids, and it has been for a little while, that get to go down in the basement and take batting practice.
I'll tell you this. Mark was talking about Bill doesn't share a lot of his information. There'd be times in the day that I would look at my phone and Bill would call me at like 1 o'clock, and Bill doesn't usually post stuff around 1 o'clock. And I would say to myself, here comes the good stuff. And Bill would tell me stuff, dude. One thing I am lucky about, I get to hear a lot of stuff. And when you get the bat phone hookup with Bill, and he needed to share just with maybe one person, I would hope at sometimes be just me, and it was like, wow. You want to think someone's connected.
Dan, how many times has this podcast ended and Bill starts talking and you look at that live counter and say, make sure that thing has stopped? Like, we're off the air, right, guys? Because Bill does have some scoops and some predictions that your heart almost stops. Like, we're off the air, right, guys? But yeah, so
it's funny you say that, and I went like this.
Yeah, my most missed thing is that type of info.
There was literally one time we were discussing stuff, and Bill knows stuff, and I had it turned off. I'd clicked it, and I still grabbed my heart when he said it out loud, because I was afraid it would go into the ether of the internet somehow and get out. But look, this is it. I've been checking Ohio State recruiting every day since the military 12 years ago. Probably twice a day. I go. It's the dean. The dean has turned this into a business. A lot of hobbyists have come and gone. I did the math. Something like, 15 kids have eaten off this site. Mark's even feeding 2 right now, and they're in high school and growing football players, and they need to eat a lot. So I cannot be more thankful. There's going to be nobody in my career, I don't think, who I've been with as much as Bill. So just very thankful that Bill was the standard bearer for this site. All right, Bill, did you know there were a few recruits at the game this past weekend? Nothing like the star-studded affair of the Texas game, but there were some dudes here, some important ones, some future Buckeyes. Can you tell us, in the way only the dean can, what you saw this weekend and if any of it mattered?
Well, as we talked about last week on this podcast, after having that incredible array of talent that Ryan Day and his staff, Mark Pantoni and his staff too, lined up for that Texas game, they weren't going to be able to be even remotely close to having that kind of talent. You know, everybody came to that. Almost everybody that they really, really wanted came to that Texas game, and it was a star-studded array of talent. So this past weekend, there was certainly some talent there, and there's always good players at Ohio State. I don't care who they're playing. Ohio State is going to attract good recruits at their games. And the headliner was JT Garasi, a tight end from New Jersey, 2027 tight end, who had already been offered a scholarship. He earned an Ohio State scholarship offer back at Ohio State's one-day camp on June 9th, I'm pretty sure was the date. And he made his first game day visit to Ohio State, and it went extremely well. And I got to tell you a little story about JT Garasi. Usually it's myself, in most cases, that need to contact the recruits after the games are over. I start contacting recruits. And it's going to be a little bit different, and I guess a little fun to still yet this season. I'll be just watching an Ohio State football game and thinking, I don't have to go to work as soon as the game's over. That'll be kind of fun, actually. Not that I don't like my work, I do, but it's also kind of not fun to work sometimes, or fun to not work sometimes, I should say. But anyway, as soon as that game was over, not as soon, but soon after, JT Garasi contacts me. You know, he sends me a message and all, telling me exactly how the visit went well and everything. That doesn't happen very often at all in this business, where they come contacting you before you have a chance to contact them. So that was kind of nice. And JT had a great time. The visit went extremely well. He's already looking forward to getting back to Ohio State. And just everything went really well on that visit. He was kind of the headliner of the weekend for Ohio State. And, you know, it's interesting too that a player that Mark and I have talked about this. Ohio State's got 2, I guess, main goals for 2026 still, to look to add possibly to the class, whether it be flipping somebody or somebody that's having a great senior season and they decide to offer them a scholarship, and then keeping their commitments in the class. They recruit guys all the way through the process, all the way till they sign, even if they've committed and they're the most loyal commitment. Ohio State continues to recruit them. Well, it was kind of a double situation in that somebody that's having a great senior season and a potential flip. Landry Breed was offered a scholarship by Ohio State, an offensive lineman, and Mark can talk more about him, but Mark and I have talked about him for a long time, actually. That's kind of interesting. He was not at the game on Saturday, but Ohio State offered him a scholarship. So that was kind of an interesting thing from this week. And he is a North Carolina State commitment. He made an official visit to North Carolina State in late June, and then followed up with a commitment to North Carolina State. So that was kind of interesting. Even though he wasn't at a game, that was news that he got a scholarship offer from Ohio State. Then, Mark, you can talk a little bit more about Landry, I guess.
Mark, let's talk about this. Landry Breed, offensive lineman from Menor, North Carolina State, not the usual threat to Ohio State recruiting. I guess Joe Tooney from Alter went to NC State and has had a great career, but I'm not pulling up too many NC States in the memory bank. You know better than me. Is NC State usually the main threat? And then your thoughts on Landry Breed?
No, NC State is not a threat. And one of my old college teammates is a coach there, and I always joke with them, when you guys come into Ohio. So yeah, a little bit off the radar. If Ohio State wants him, they're going to have to make a play at him and, probably get in the NIL game. And the reason NC State has him is they made him one of their featured guys, one of their most important guys in the class. And that's the recipe we've been talking about forever on this show, that, the top couple guys are going to get the red carpet. The guys 3 or 4 down the rung are going to be kind of pulled by other schools to get their red carpet. We've been talking about Landry for a while. He's one of those guys that we had him as like the top 5 or 6 lineman in Ohio. Will he, won't he? He's probably more of an interior guy, so maybe he didn't have as much value as the others. Someone asked me in the chat last week, who are some of the seniors in Ohio that after 3 games, which is the traditional mark, and whenever every coach, I always say it's the kiss of death. If a coach says, hey, send me 3 games your senior year, that means you just weren't good enough to get the offer then, and you're clinging to these 3 games, but they tell that to 7,000 kids a year, and I wouldn't want to be in that boat. But that's the traditional time frame. Give me 3 games. Landry's first 3 games, here we go. A couple scrimmages, couple games. That's enough of a body of work early in the year for Ohio State to have checked them out and said, okay, all systems go. Who will be the next kid like this in Ohio? I think I listed like 10 kids last week. He was one of them. You look for a flip for like an Adam Guthrie or, Bill Belichick's team's doing pretty bad, right? Does Jacob Witherspoon say, hey, guys, I'm sorry. This was a mistake. There's things like that coming. So we'll see what and you know what? Nobody knows what it's going to be. We can all just, spitball about it and make things up, but something will be coming.
All right. Let's do this. I want to take a look at some Buckeye in the Sky real quickly. Every Monday, we do Buckeye in the Sky. We take around 10 plays from the game that Ohio State played and feature them. This week, when Mark and I were picking out the plays, I was going to go with just all touchdowns because this was not a game where the lead up to the touchdown, they were so overmatched in Grambling, but it was a showcase of freshmen. I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but in the Bucknuts staff roundtable, we were asked, which freshman do you want to see get some playing time? And mine was Riley Pettijohn, and I don't think Grambling will like the look of it. And I would say I was right on that. Holy cow. And then I had to tell everybody, my guy has just turned 18 years old and a few months ago. Riley Pettijohn is a star. I have hooked I'm on the Riley Pettijohn bandwagon PR set. So
no victory lap there.
It's
funny, when I did those last 2 plays and I saw they were both Riley Pettijohn, I was like, I know Dan Rubin is smiling somewhere because you didn't just call it in the roundtable. You've called this when he was recruited, and you pointed out, especially that he's a young guy. So take your victory lap. Mika has taken victory lap. The Landry Breed, they've been after him for a while. This game, when we pick plays, and I'll pause it for a second. There's so many themes you could go with. You could pick a player and go 8 plays on just one player and dissect the goodness or badness from which, that person had a day. You could pick defense. You could pick offense. This game, you could have picked young guys and who are the young guys getting in the game. And Dan went with a lot of big plays. And it felt to me like Ohio State said, listen, we're going to score 7 or 10 times. We want Jeremiah to get one. We want this guy to get one. We want our tight end to get one. We want our backup. It's almost like they forced a different player. Tate's going to get one. And that was kind of the theme here. So, Graham, okay, on defense, they played this cover 2 shell with the 3 linebackers underneath it almost exclusively. And I don't know them well enough to say that They came into the game saying, you know what, let's just play one defense. We're going to get our asses waxed. Let's not show the rest of our schedule, what we have. Similar to Ohio State. Hey, we know we're going to win. Let's not show anything crazy that, could hurt us later. But out of this cover 2 shell, you're going to see they lined up in this and they did a lot of things out of it. So from a quarterback's perspective, it wasn't a bad defense. The first thing they're going to do, we'll get into this, is 4 verticals usually is what you beat cover 2 with. And these outside verticals will have these safeties pulled out of here, which makes the middle of the field wide open. Okay. And that's how you beat cover 2, running people down the middle. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they had Derek Brooks and some really fast linebackers, they had Tampa 2, where the middle linebacker would try to run back over these verticals and not let it be such an easy play. I guess this is no surprise. Our tight end's faster than their middle linebacker. This is like backyard football. Tight end comes out of the gates. That middle line, and plus the play action too, holds that middle linebacker. He may have a 2-yard head start right there, but this is just not fair. I mean, it's just talent against other talent. He's a small middle linebacker. He looks like a mini me running next to our tight end. But that's how you beat that coverage, and that's how you beat it easily. Same cover
with your blocking tight end, by the way. That was Kazmarek.
Yeah.
That was not even our fast tight end. So,
Dan, I was going to point that out, but I'm a tight end, and I always hated when people questioned our speed.
Sorry.
But I would
Tight
doubt
end
that he's the fastest tight end in our tight end room. Okay, so yeah, he made that kid, and you could see right there that the talent differential is just whoa. Okay, same exact defense again, same exact cover 2, cover 4 shell. This time we're just going to try to beat it with the play that Ohio State always runs is they run the outside receiver on this side to clear out everything on that side, and whoever's playing deep, they'll run them out of the field. And almost 100 times out of 100, sorry, it's not playing. A little freeze here. Yeah, I don't know. This is the first time we've had a lockup. Let me see if I can get this back.
Well,
what will happen here?
I was going to say, while you're doing that, Mark,
Go ahead,
while you're doing that, Mark, I'll tell a quick story. I posted on our message board on Sunday, I believe it was, that, all the guys that contributed in that game on Saturday, I felt like I was watching almost the entire 2025 class of guys that I was talking to just 6 to 12 months ago. And now they're out on the field, making plays for Ohio State. And somebody asked me, which guy in a positive way has surprised you most so far in this class? And I said, well, Riley Pettijohn, because I thought he was a really good player in high school and going to be a good player for Ohio State. I just didn't know he was going to be this good, this fast, this quickly. So I named him, and it was interesting. I thought back to when I was told that, I was told Ohio State really liked this guy a lot. But I also was told from the Texas side of things that they weren't, overly going in on him and everything because they weren't sure he was big enough. They liked him a lot, but just wasn't quite sure he was big enough. And I think he's big enough, guys. He's going to be a tremendous football player for Ohio State.
That's an indictment of Texas's recruiting. I'm sorry. Look at how many Texas and Georgia guys we have contributing, by the way, and think to yourself how you'd feel if they were contributing for their state teams. It would be disappointing. Or if we had Ohio guys doing that, that would be terrible. Mark, how we doing? We're going to bag it? You know what, Mark? Let's just have them go to the. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
You can go to the site for the finish. It's all good.
You know what? It's working. You can pull it up.
Okay.
And by the way, Texas did offer a scholarship to Riley Pettijohn. They absolutely did offer him a scholarship and all. It's just that they weren't as gung-ho on him as Ohio State was on him. And lo and behold, the Buckeyes were right.
Great point by Las Vegas Buckeyes. Hold on a second. Georgia felt the same way about Caden McDonald. Pretty smart move. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
Okay, so cover 2 shell. Ohio States are famous for running the streak down the sideline here, and that clears out everybody. And then what they do is they bring the crosser on the backside. Now, this is set up for this crosser. There'll be a hole right through the middle of the zone. In fact, the graphic here is going to illustrate it. And we've broken this play down at least 100 times, I think. This is the main receiver. This safety is a bonehead. You got Jeremiah Smith running a streak to your side. And, okay, this corner is going to be, keeping his eye on the flat. But here's the safety, and here's Jeremiah Smith. Like, he lines up to your side and runs a go route, and you have the responsibility for deep half. Like, this is just bad football and bad talent packed into one. I pointed out they ran the same defense every time, cover 4, 3 linebackers underneath. They are starting to change it. They're going to start blitzing guys, but it's coming out of the same shell. So you see 2 linebackers blitzing, man-to-man everywhere else now. You just pick your favorite matchup. And, again, this route isn't a great route. I mean, I think Carnell Tate here is just running, kind of jogging down the field, and he's like, hey, throw it to me. This kid's not very good. I don't know if that's a back shoulder. I don't know if that's just, hey, throw it up. But I don't know at what point he was ever covered or what time. So this was breaking this down. We'll go one more play because it's all the same.
Last one, yep.
Cover 4, 3 linebackers underneath, the exact same vanilla look. This time they're going to bring a corner blitz and a slot corner blitz. So they did show variety out of the vanilla. That leaves you 2 over the top and 3 underneath, which isn't a lot of coverage. Jeremiah Smith's out here. The corner and the safety are in there. He's outflanked the coverage at the snap of the ball. They are not covering Jared. It's like, yeah, we don't care that he's the best receiver in college football. We're not going to do anything to change him. So that was pretty shocking. What's cool about Ohio State is you get to see some of the Matt Patricia genius. I mean, I can't scroll Twitter anymore without seeing what a genius he is for shutting down Texas. Like, he is really, in one game, better than Jim Knowles, a mad scientist, and he's taken on that, persona in the past. So, I know it was Grambling, but he had a little bit of that on tape too. So I'm sure throughout the year, one of our themes, Dan, will be the Matt Patricia genius on defense again.
Well, I think Matt Patricia is really good at confusing quarterbacks. You've got a young quarterback out there, and you know who I'm talking about. That's going to be a mountain to climb. We will climb the mountain without Bill eventually, and it will be a lofty climb. If anyone wants to go back and listen to our tribute to Bill here, this pod will be up shortly. Like I said, the dean of Ohio State recruiting is retiring, and it's been quite a ride, Bill. You want to get any last words in there for your people?
No, just, thank you all again. And we're not completely done yet. Like I said, I'm not retired. I'm retiring in October, not today. So Bucknuts will continue to be great. They will be the best site out there. And the people in charge and the people doing all the work, they will continue to be absolutely fantastic.
Garrett Hodge will have his first story up here. For those of you live, this is 9:50 Eastern time on Tuesday. Garrett will have his first story up about 10:10, and then he'll be on the boards all day. And Mark Porter will have his chat at 10 a.m. So you're going to get so much Bucknuts, you're not going to know what to do with it. But we appreciate everybody stopping by. It's been quite a run. Have a good one. Nutters of Buck.